ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to SQ1 Champions League for our first match of the day between Unknown Enemy and Omega Team. I'm Kachka, and I will be bringing you that match with Kerim.
And you cut out, okay. Hello ladies and gentlemen, my name is Kerim. I'm supposed to be the newest addition to the lovely casting team over here in SQ1. I'm really hyped to see this upcoming game. It's going to be the Battle of David versus, well, David. You know, it's two little minors, playing against one another for the last spot. Or rather, the second from the last spot at the standings. So I think that we can get, some relative hype tonight.
We definitely can. Both of these teams have only managed to pick up one win over the course of the first 2 weeks, and I am particularly excited for Unknown Enemy because, well, let's say that they had some very drastic roster changes less than 24 hours.
Yeah, so there was a little bit of a shenanigan train, let's say, where the former captain, I'm going to say, has decided that, well, he kind of doesn't want to, own Unknown Enemy, and so one of the players, namely Colin, has decided to take over as the owner as well as the captain for the team. Now, they still do not have any coach left, so that's going to be likely a hindrance for them during the draft, and everywhere else outside of mid lane, it's all new faces, so we're going to be seeing pretty much a brand new team playing against the team that hasn't actually showed up on the stream just yet.
That's right, Omega Team, they didn't play any games on the stream, and the only game they actually won was due to a forfeit. So they want to be picking up those wins if they want to avoid the avoid the bottom of the standings. That is not the place where you want to stay coming into the next weeks forward. So a win today would be good as we are getting into the...
Yeah, it would be pretty much the statement game from Omega Gaming today, or Omega Team, sorry, not gaming. We had this discussion before we actually started the stream. Now, we are in the picks and ban phase. We're just going to be waiting on that first lovely ban. Now, some of the picks that I am maybe looking to take away from both of these teams would be, namely, Elise as the jungler, or our lovely Omega team is called Nadestin, or Natestin, not sure really.
Yeah, Natestin.
And he loves playing Elise. He's essentially one trick, has 600 games on her. It is the first ban, so, well, not too many surprises there.
Right, just removing that makes a lot of sense. On the other side, Kai'Sa and Braum are both the bans already taken away by Omega. And I think it makes sense. Kai'Sa a fairly all-rounder AD carry, and Gerben does like to play the Braum, and an Urgot ban will come through from Unknown.
Well, just taking away one of the most meta picks, at least right now, you definitely do want to make sure that you can set up yourself a relatively safe solo lane, especially when you're the Omega team right now, where you have always faltered. However, we haven't seen the games yet, so we cannot really tell if it has been during the early game or in the mid game. Now, the problems with Unknown Enemy, from what we saw in that one little game that they played against, I believe it was GG, is that Colin sort of fell apart to jungle pressure, so my eyes are still going to be on Natestin and see if he can develop so much of that much needed pressure to maybe try to snowball Quetzia in that mid lane, or just go for some other lanes. Again, it's all experiments, it's all good fun here today.
Definitely is, and Lucian actually will be the first pick for Omega. Lissandra will be taken by the side of Unknown Enemy, and the Jarvan is...
Okay, you're sort of cutting out there. It's okay.
Okay.
Though. Yeah, at the end of your sentences, might just want to, start screaming at the end there. No matter, you now have a really potent gank lane if you're the side of Unknown Enemy. You will have Jarvan and Lissandra able to lock anyone down. Now, of course, Lissandra can be flexed over to top or mid lane. We have been seeing in this patch both. Before that, Lissandra did get a bit of a nerf, and so she was sort of mostly playing in the mid lane. Now, I am maybe looking forward to seeing Midnight pick her up. We can also be expecting something that has popped up in the LCS, which is the take support top lane and take no farm and just give everything to your jungler while utilizing the support item to get all of the gold that you need, because in the end you can give that gold away and you don't fall behind. And it hasn't been fixed yet. It's going to be a hotfix, but it hasn't been applied just yet.
No, it has not. And if we take a look at the picks that have been in the meantime taken, the side of Omega team, they have got that Sejuani and as well as the Zyra, and I'm pretty sure the support likes these kind of champions. However, Unknown Enemy, they've got the Caitlyn, and this AD carry is just so powerful on this.
Yeah, definitely. Caitlyn suffers from the you have every good stage of the laning phase great syndrome. Caitlyn, she has an amazing build itemization right now. She can get a power spike when she comes back with the BF sword if she lanes even. If she gets ahead, she can also get a dagger in, which is just only empowering her so much more. She spikes heavily around one item with that Infinity Edge. She also has an amazing power spike as soon as she gets either the static shift or the rapid fire cannon as the second item, and she absolutely pops off on 4 items. So really good that we see Unknown Enemy picking up that strong of a pick.
And if we take a look at their bans, Orianna and Syndra have been removed, targeting with Saya because he does like to play those mages in the mid lane, especially the ones that can be safe, whereas Omega, they just are banning out the Thresh and Alistar, so they want to restrict the support champion.
And right now, something that I'm looking at is that Morgana. It is open, and Caitlyn Morgana is one of the most aggressive as well as safe bot lanes in the game. Now, it will be the Scion being prioritized. I am a bit unsure about that, as now, well, you could technically see a Morgana popping up and put Zyra onto Quetzia. It would be in his line of specialty, similarly, but so far, it seems that we're going to have a standard composition, unlike anything cheesy.
And a Kennen will be locked in for Chaos in the top lane, a champion that he's played that is strong. I am looking forward to see if he can have some team fighting impact, because so far with Zyra, Kennen and Sejuani, Omega team, they could be looking to play for something that can force these team fights in the mid.
Yeah, and Chaos has picked that cannon up once. It wasn't the strongest showing, let's just put it mildly. He went 2-7, I believe it was, but the rest of Omega team also fell apart during that game, so maybe it wasn't necessarily his fault. Now, Victor also picked up. It's something that has sort of fallen out of favor in this meta right now. It's still a really strong mid game to late game mage. He won't necessarily have a hard lane against Lissandra. He is going to be picking up that cleanse, so it is going to nullify the risk of Jarvan and Lissandra. But I heard you. I heard you breathing in. I heard that little sip of breath. Ivern has been locked in.
It has been, and it is a Jarvan support for Gerben. What are they bringing out? What is this kind of composition? I mean, I'm excited for it, but what does it want to?
So it's a spicy composition. When we were preparing for this game, I wrote down that Hanat can play Ivern because I do believe that it can pop up in these games. Ivern is a pick that has been sort of overlooked, but it is a really strong supportive jungler right now. The problem with him is that he is so underutilized that people don't know about him. It's sort of the Mordekaiser curse. If Mordekaiser was actually good, you will have a lot of lockdown in every single lane now that you have drafted yourself Ivern. You will have the knockup from Jarvan, who, by the way, can build AP instead of AD. We have seen that happen as well. Now, Hanad will have a very free range of lanes that he can look to pressure. So, again, just look where he decides to make his impact. And if he decides to go for too much counter jungling, because he can definitely do that. He doesn't necessarily run the risk of being killed by the Sejuani, because Sejuani won't have too many pushing lanes either. So once again, Hanad is going to have a lot of free ways to try to snowball this game for the side of Unknown Enemy.
You know, I'm looking at the bot side right now because there's a lot of spicy things early lane or like laning focus. You've got Lucian, Zyra. They have so much kill pressure. On the other side, you have Caitlyn and Jarvan who can also stand their own in the lane. What can we expect from them? Like, which of these bot lanes would you expect to have priority in the early game, and how will the teams try to play around it?
So generally when you see Lucian being picked up, you immediately think, okay, he's going to try to snowball that lane. He's one of the best AD carries in the early game. Now, when he's facing against Caitlyn, it may be a bit more difficult. Now, he does have Zyra in that bot lane, so he can try to utilize that pressure if some of the Thorns manage to connect either onto Caitlyn or Jarvan. Remember, Jarvan isn't tanky at the very beginning. He is going to be a wet tissue paper, especially if he decides to build that AP itemization. So, if you see a good route happening from Lucio, it can sway the tides of the bot lane. If he doesn't, and if he just keeps on whiffing his abilities, the bot lane of Omega Team are going to have a very hard time, as Caitlyn just completely outranges as well as outscales Lucian, both in the mid game and in the early game. So again, it's going to be really difficult for the bot lane of OG to really do anything, and it's all on the back of Lucio to try to win this lane.
I'm also looking at Nathan possibly on a Sejuani more after that level 6. If you have got that Glacial Prison, that is an excellent tool to enable the lanes, and whereas both Jarvan and Caitlyn have got some escapes built into their kit, when you combine that CC with the lockdown that Zyra provides, that is an effective way to snowball, and I think if you factor that in, it is on UE to show that they have got some of the synergy to just avoid the possibility of getting ganked over and over again.
Oh yeah, certainly. And at that point, once again, it's going to be the battle of the junglers. Now, we have been focusing mostly around the bot lane, but I want to bring up the fact that Sejuani, as you mentioned, post level 6 is going to have really good setup in the form of that ultimate, and she can pair that up with the Slicing Maelstrom in the top lane because Kaos has picked himself Kennen. So post level 6, she can go bot or top lane. She likely won't be trying to focus this Lissandra down because, well, she has a self-sustain tool. She has that Glacial Tomb. It ain't the easiest gank to pull off, chaps. So if you see Nathan running either around top lane or bot lane, don't be surprised. I do believe that it is more likely that he is going to roam over to bot before he even hits that ultimate spike. But after that, once again, he's going to be free to do almost whatever he wants.
And guys, let us know in the chat, who do you think is going to win this game? Will it be Omega Team? Will it be the unknown enemy? So many good things that this game can promise. I mean,
yes. Again,
I got cut. Great.
Yeah, you get cut. You could call yourself the cut cat. I'm sorry, that was terrible.
Moving on.
Save me, please. Save me from this peculiar situation. So, we are seeing that Jarvan has decided to pick up that Airy for his Keystone, and it is an interesting pickup because generally what you will see on Jarvan being picked up is either the Grasp of the Undying or Electrocute. If you really want to burst someone down, you pick Airy always when you want to poke. Now, the thing with poke Jarvan, right? Yeah, he sort of needs to max his Q to be that effective. So given if Jarvan wants to play the support, he's likely going to be maxing the W, the shield, to give that extra attack speed to his AD carry. I'm going to be looking heavily at Herben, was it? Herben, yes. If he is going to be maxing his Q or W first, because that will determine if he wants to build AD or AP. So, that's another fun little interaction. He also has Ignite. That's just, to point
Yeah,
out.
just to kill things. That is what the Ignite is used for in lane. You pick it, you kill things, and hopefully you get some leads. And I believe that we will be shortly finally getting into the game. One thing that I also want to point out is that Quetzaya is running a cleanse, which, to be honest, no surprises against Alessandra, but I still think it's worth pointing out.
Oh yeah, definitely. Especially if you're going to be facing someone like that Ivern in the jungle, the lockdown is going to be insane. Now, you may be able to cleanse off the ultimate from Lissandra. You may not be that able to cleanse the upcoming CC down. Now, the silver lining for Quetzia is that Colin and Hanad won't necessarily have too much damage by their own. So, if there is going to be any kills happening in the mid lane, it's either going to be through Quetzia overextending a lot, or through Herben running over to the mid lane and getting a good flag and drag, more likely after he hits that level 6.
And he has gone for the Spell Thieves, as you said that it can be played. I think I've seen it in the LCK. And, well, that just gives you so much poke. I think he started with his E. He does not have anything yet, but that scaling on the Demacian standard is actually pretty decent if you look.
It really is, and it got buffed. I believe it was 9.1. I think it was the preseason patch, or sorry, the post preseason patch, where it improved it by, I believe it was 5%. So now it is actually how much is it? It's either 15 or 20. It's either 50. Yes.
It's 22 out of 28. See,
Yes.
So he has 28 AP, and you can calculate that into percentage. I personally can't be asked, so.
No, it's okay. It's okay. So he's going to be dealing a lot of attack speed to his team, just like a dealer deals something that we cannot mention on this child-friendly broadcast. Now, game has been paused.
No battery on. Why would you have batteries in your mouth? That is the question I have.
That is such a weird thing. Like, out of all the things, okay, that you can see that are strange in a League of Legends game, right? Like you have AP Jarvan, and we were like, okay, well, that's sort of a thing. We've seen that happen, and but wireless mouse, really, out of all things, come on,
On an AD carry.
yeah, just buy a normal one. The what's it called? The
Wired one.
not the wired one. I mean the like when you move the mouse, it sort of lags a tad.
I actually don't know.
Okay, well, we're gonna move on from
Yes.
that. We're apparently not good technicians. Okay.
I'm not hiding it.
Yeah, you're not. You're literally a duck. Okay. So now, something that I want to point out is that Hanat has decided to go with the Guardian. Now, it isn't that of an uncommon pickup for Ivern, given that he, of course, is this supportive jungler. But if he wants to gank a lot, instead of going for these protective team fights, really, he would likely pick an Aftershock because it still does deal a lot of damage. So, given from that, we may already be expecting that he may not just be wanting that immediate gank pressure. He may just be wanting to farm up a bit. In the meantime, go for the bot lane where he can protect Flaxer from that insane damage that Lucian is going to be able to develop in the early game, and then go for a good team fight in the mid game.
That is something to look for. I just saw one Demacian standard take 100 HP
Yeah.
off Lucio. That is not fun to play again.
No, that's another one. Come on, just
That bot lane from unknown enemy will have a lot of pressure if they play well around it. What I am looking at though is to see if they can avoid the catch out potential from Zyra, because well, if you get hit by those roots, then it could be a lot. However, an engage going in already onto Rasen, he has to burn the heal. Gerben is actually having so much damage on this Jarvan.
so much damage coming out from the bot lane of unknown enemy gaming right now. It makes sense given that they did hit that level 2 power spike first. Again, Caitlyn has just such a superior range to Lucian that even at level 1 she is going to be able to just push the wave against him, and now it may be able to reset, but no, Flaxer just says, hey, we're gonna shove it under your own turret. And granted, Lucio has been hitting some nice E's, but well,
Oh, Colin gets stunned by the gravity field in the middle lane. There's the Ring of Frost to try and get him set to flash on from Nathan. He gets the permafrost. However, the turret shots will not be enough to secure the kill. That was too close for my life.
yeah, that was way too closely cut for Nathan there. That could have been a really terrible turnaround, giving that first butt over to the opposing mid laner. Definitely not something that you want, especially if you're playing Victor, who relies on being able to burst people down. The sooner that you give Lissandra that proto belt, the sooner she's going to be really tanky, and the sooner you're not going to be able to blow her up. Now, Hanat is in that mid lane, or no, he's just going to counter jungle a bit. It's a common trend that we see on Ivern pop up. He just runs over to your jungle. He marks a camp, and he calls upon the power of gods to steal it away with a lightning. That's kind of fun.
Yeah, just casual jungle stuff, You're walking the enemy jungle and you take it away. Easy as that. And so far in this early game, we haven't really seen too much more. As I said, Hanat is walking up towards that top lane. There's a trigger seed to get us on to Chaos, the root caller, to bring himself back with the minions. Decimating Smash connects with the knockup. Flash is used from the cannon. Flash from cannon. Can he get the kill? The trigger seed just does not have enough damage, and Chaos will escape.
Yeah, I feel like Hanat forgot a bit there that he's playing Ivern. He doesn't deal any damage. He tried to go for the kill, so that is good. Now, he is trying to develop some pressure, but he's going to have a bit of a harder time. Now, Nathan in the bot lane, though, may find something.
Gerben is very, very low. Barely any mana. Flash away immediately burned from Flaxer, and that should be enough to get the bot lane from unknown enemy to save.
And a great flash there from Flaxer, managing to get away just at the what's it called? At the blink of a moment, of an opportunity, at the last moment. Yes, I'm good with words. I think I'm Catholic,
Yes,
so.
you're good.
Thank you. Now, the bot lane situation is actually very even. Rasen has been able to pick up so many of these creeps, which I am a bit impressed by. Of course, it's a relatively normal thing. Now, Flexer doesn't have too much poke under the enemy turret with Gerben, who is now lacking that mana. And Lucio, if he keeps on landing that poke after poke, they may be able to eventually go in. But now Hannah is there to try to punish them.
There comes the Ivern from behind. No mana on Lucio. Heal is not available for Rasen. He has the flash. Flash shot from Gerben and good reactive flash from Rasen. An auto attack more will do it, but Hanan is out of the range. And now the Woods connect to him. Nathan is sitting down there in that bottom lane, but it seems that unknown enemy might just get out and...
It looks like they will just get out scotch-free, but Nathan... Okay, he's just, he's patrolling. He's the guard boar. They don't actually know that he is there. They don't have any vision on him. Okay, well, that's the scrying orb.
Yeah,
That's
unfortunate. It will do the job. Oh, you get the spot right now. I actually like that control ward behind the mid lane turret. If you look by Omega team, it does give you quite a lot of vision about whatever unknown enemy actually want to do when it comes to roaming around in that side of the jungle.
Yeah, definitely the vision control, one of the most important aspects of competitive play. Speaking of which, Gerben has been able to pick up that control ward, so likely they will be able to spot Nathan, and it is really important that they do so. I would really love to see a deep ward right now be put down. Flexer hasn't put down a single one just yet, just their stereotypical AD carry, I guess. Putting it down deep in the river would mean that they will be able to spot Nathan ahead of the curve, which is really important if you're playing Caitlyn and Jarvan. You see where they are in lane. They're almost constantly under the enemy turret. They're there again, and they need the control over the vision in the enemy jungle if they want to keep this pressure up.
Nathan right now sitting in the top lane, but I do agree it is a dangerous place to be if you are unknown enemy without the proper vision control, and well, they only have got that one control ward sitting in their brush, which will give them minimal vision, as Hanat, he might be looking for some cheeky invading the jungle.
Ooh, he is starting to take away that red buff away from Nathan. He does have smite up. There we go. It's gone. Sorry. The red brambleback has a family, That was a bit rude. Now, I do not believe that unknown enemy can actually go for a dive here. That would be very cheeky of them.
Flaxer is already half HP and Rasen is pressing onward. The Caitlyn will have to go out. And there is one lane that we really didn't show barely any love to this game, and that is the top lane. And Chaos is doing so well despite his early flash being blown. Just look at that C.
And it makes sense. If you're playing Kennen, you always start with that Doran's Blade. And fun little fact, Kennen has is it one of the highest auto attack ranges or auto attack speeds? I believe it's auto attack speed. So he is really able to punish any sort of melee top laner, which is Sion in this case. And while he does have a good sustain in lane, he didn't decide to pick Corrupting Pot. So every single Q that Chaos hits just hits that much.
Look at Herben in that bot lane. He's dropping low. There's the heal. He would just have him. Can he make it out? Slither of HP. But looks like he will get under his own tower.
He will, in the end, manage to survive. Once again, really important that they do not give any leads away to the opposing team. Giving a kill over to Lucian would just mean that they're going to be able to snowball out of control, something that you definitely don't want to see when you're playing against this Lucian. However, at the rest of the map, everything is calm, everything is quite serene, except for that top lane where Midnight is just getting absolutely shredded in the terms of farm department. Now, Nathan, though, may be in a bit of trouble.
He does use the Arctic Assault and he will be okay, making it to his own side of the jungle, and it does seem like an unknown enemy. They are starting to play around this jungle and they are laying the foundations of that vision control. It is a mountain, so you do want to get it, though the priority might not be at the very, very top.
It will be still really impactful if they do decide to take it, because they will have good siege in the form of Caitlyn and Lysandra. They have great wave clear. Now, something that they need is sort of damage to structure. So, if they're going to be able to pick that Mountain Drake up, it's going to be even that more lethal. And especially paired up with a Baron buff, if that comes through for unknown enemy, it's going to be so difficult to do anything if you're Omega team, because you don't have too much wave clear from there.
No, you don't. Just taking a quick look at the items so far. In the bot lane, it is fairly even. You have that BF sword against the Bilgewater Catalyst. Mid lane, no items completed yet. The Victor has his core. I'm not exactly sure how many items that is upgraded. However, we might be seeing some collapse coming through from Omega Team in that bot lane. There is the Glacial Prison connecting onto Flaxer and the Cataclysm into the backline for Gerben. Strangle Throats are thrown down. The stopwatch has to be popped. Herben will now come out of the zone. Yes, there is the ace in the hole for the first blood from Flaxer onto Nathan. Lucio is getting run down. That is the knockup. However, Rasen gets the kill back. Lucio finally gets shut down by Hanet. A 2-for-1 fight in the end in favor of a known enemy.
And such a good turnaround from unknown enemy there. It looked like Omega Team had the perfect engage. You saw Sejuani hitting that glacial prison, but in the end, they didn't spot Hanad. There was Ivern behind them the whole time, and Daisy was able to get so many stuns. And remember what I said about Caitlyn? She has such a good itemization right now. Or what?
I think you know just good cat, but hey.
Oh. I got played by my own words.
You did get played, but let us not forget what that means.
No.
A pretty good fight, however, if you take a look at the gold, it really doesn't do that much, and mostly thanks to that top lane CS lead, it is Omega Team that are actually ahead.
Well, they are still going to be ahead, and getting that CS lead on Kennen is really good for you, especially if he is playing something like that AP build, because he's going to be able to blow people up in every single team fight with that accumulated gold advantage. But you don't have any gold lead on Rasen. He still has the equal amount of gold compared to Flaxer, and so the game isn't going to snowball that hard. Now, Nateston can maybe try to sway the tides a bit in the top lane if he decides to camp it. Well, that's up to his own discretion.
It is. I'm looking at Chaos to use his teleport to try and influence that bot lane, because you are an AP cannon. As you said, you can just delete someone, and getting an under-level bot lane, at least compared to yourself, on your radar can be a hugely effective tactic.
Especially in the mid game when you do want your Caitlyn to be useful. Now in the mid lane,
Colin will take... Yeah, Colin will take the glacial path to safety. Hanet comes over, says hi, and then gets out.
That's Ivern's job, essentially. He just comes by, you know, he's the uncle that you don't see for like half a year, and he just turns up at like the family reunion, and then you like read in the newspapers that he was somehow involved in a homicide or something. Okay,
moving away.
Yeah, moving on from that point, speaking of Hanad, he has been doing a really good job at counterjuggling Nateston.
They are just going to have some awkward stirs. However, Quetzaya is there. The Chaos Storm is utilized. Hanat is slowly getting chunked down. No flash available. Means there is barely an escape. Herman comes here to help. The redemption is used. Can they kill him before the kill comes through? They will, and Rasen in the meantime also kills Flaxer. That is 2 kills now in favor of Omega.
And Herben just sacrificed Hanad. He could have had tanked the Glacial Prison, but in the end he saw, nah, I don't want my uncle to be at this family reunion the next year, and so Hanad goes down. In the meantime, Flaxer got run down as he was trying to go help, and that is really terrible. If you're unknown enemy, you had a good fight in the bot lane, but now you're giving away 2 kills as well as the Mountain Drake? That isn't something that you want to be doing.
And there are 2 kills sitting on Rasen's solution, one them on Quetzaya, and those are the carries that you really need to be scared of. And add on top of that the fact that Chaos is getting a very good CS lead in the top lane. All 3 of the damage dealers will be doing work once we will be moving into the middle game.
I have to agree with you there now. The saving grace for unknown enemy is still going to be Flaxer and Colin. Remember, Midnight doesn't need to get ahead, he just needs to be not too far behind to a point where he just completely melts to anyone. So, right now, given that he is still 40 CS behind, but he's managing to get those safe items, he's not going to be too far off, and Flaxer is still going to be dealing a lot of damage, same with Colin, as he starts itemizing towards that Luden's Echo, I presume.
You've got the Blade of the Ruin King though, already completed for Rasen. That is one of the biggest power spike that any Lucian composition can utilize. And well, now Omega Team, they have got the opportunity. How do they utilize?
Well, I do want to agree with you there that the amazing power spike on Lucian can be utilized. Another thing that they can utilize is Victor. He has finished that Hex core completely, which gives him a lot of stats. So while you can put Nathan in the bot lane to try to repeat something that he has done time and time again, he can also go to mid lane and try to snowball through there.
As we see Engage coming through in the bot lane, Kerben actually has to flash away. The teleport is coming through from Chaos. First goal is back away. Flash over to this lasting Maelstrom. Flaxer goes under his own turret. Meanwhile, Colin looking to do work in that backline is ignited down. The Frozen Tomb already is down. Chaos gets another kill, and Omega Team, they are coming out on the top in this.
And well, Colin does have some damage, but not enough, and he neither has that sustain to be able to stand in the 4 people of a Mega Team, and he just melts as a result. And something that I also want to point out is that OG, they don't lose anything off of this. Midnight is in the mid lane, sure, that's cool, but he's not going to be able to push this turret down. And in the top lane, it's Nathan, and there is no teleport for unknown enemies. So in the end, they're going to be able to pressure this bot lane turret as well as the top one.
3 members from unknown enemy to try and repel the push, but the damage has already been done. That tower will fall as soon as anyone wants to push it through. Nathan actually should also be able to secure the top lane tower. And now 60 minutes into the game, OG, they find themselves with a 3,000 goldie dust. Nathan and Midnight, they are juking it out. Midnight has got that unstoppable onslaught. Does he decide to use it? The answer is yes! And he will get the kill onto Nathan, so at least unknown enemy, they are trying to strike back.
They're starting to mount a bit of a comeback, given how aggressive Midnight was there. It worked out for him, but once again, you do not want your kills sitting on that tank. You want them on your carries, and the only carry that currently has a kill from unknown enemy is Flaxo. He does have 1 kill. He does have that Zeal. He is going to still be finishing Infinity Edge first, I assume, just to get that damage in, but as soon as he can manage to get his hands on that RFC or the static shift, he's still going to be dealing a lot of damage, and at this point, unknown enemies sort of have to hope that he can reach that power spike before Omega Team can shred them to bits.
As Colin is taking his path down towards the bot side, flash away from Lucio, good reaction to Hannah's flash, and he will make it out to safety. And I feel like unknown enemy, they are trying to make these plays, but they either don't work or backfire straight.
And that was actually a bad play. So you saw the idea behind it, but in the end, they gave up the bot lane turret because the minions, they kind of do damage, yeah, kind of sometimes. So they just managed to pick up the turret.
Nathan flashes forward onto Herben, who flags and drags away the full channel of Colin, nearly lands onto him. Nathan will be the one with the kill credit in the end.
And at this point, Hannah should really not be coming there. He should just be looking to pressure somewhere else. He's just taken a really long route to try to rendezvous together with this Caitlyn, and they may try to very well ward off the enemies from the upcoming turret, but it may just be a bit too difficult for them at this point.
It may. And you know, one thing that I noticed whilst preparing for this match is that Rasen was the person for OG that despite their losses, he was the most consistent person in that AD carry role. And well, right now he's the guy with the most kills. So I feel like that might be one of the things that Omega Team are looking to play through, because their AD carry, he is looking solid in.
They definitely can. They can utilize the power spike that Rasen is going to be having together with that Black Cleaver that he's currently itemizing towards. Something that I want to bring up is that we have to remember, okay, unknown enemy, they sort of came together sooner than 24 hours ago, okay? And it's shown. It's the communications definitely isn't ironed out just yet. You can see that on the calls when you see Hannah running by to a play that has already happened. You can see that when you don't see any teleport coming there when it's available, and as a reason, unknown enemy are just getting hard destroyed.
Definitely seems to be the case. 19 minutes into the game, the Baron spawning in just 1 minute. The Mountain Drake is alive, and look at all of the vision control that OG are currently exhibiting around that bot side, and I would assume as soon as the dragon is gone, that will also be the Baron.
And at this point, I feel like unknown enemies sort of can try to force a fight. After Flaxer manages to get that Infinity Edge, they need someone who is going to be dealing consistent damage. They have the lockdown. They have the Lysandra, they have the Sion, they have a solid front line. They can try to utilize their superior teamfighting composition to their own advantage. But once again, they cannot be caught out as they have been doing in the past few minutes.
Colin is trading with Quetzal in the middle lane. Sandra's falling so low. There is the trigger seed and the redemption to save him. Herald is attempted by unknown enemy. They have got only a few seconds though, and Chaos is behind the pit. He's got the flash and the slicing maelstrom. Do the side of, as my client freeze. Okay, do the side of OG decide to go in. Chaos tries to find the opportunity. Colin hopes the frozen almost, and there is the slicing maelstrom into the backline. Double kill. Fight for Quetzal. There's the calling onto Hannah. He will be cut down where he stands. The third kill of the fight going in favor of OG, and a triple kill for Quetzal, and a full ace will be found just 20 minutes into the game.
And I suppose that unknown enemy can only hope that they have their waiver signed, because, well, that was an absolute destruction by Omega team there. Chaos got the perfect slicing maelstrom, stunned up so many people, and once again, he's the AP cannon. He does have that Hextech Protobot, so he deals an incredible amount of damage together with the rest of his team. As they are ahead, they are just able to utilize the item discrepancy, and in the end, the low health bars of unknown enemy disappear and become unknown to us. As well, the gold lead is increasing ever so steadily.
It is, and the Baron is live. I would assume that OG now want to just focus around the topside jungle. Place your wards, because the item advantages are very much visible. 2 items on Rasen, 2 items on Chaos, and Quetzal is also working towards what I would believe might be the Lusek, or any other AP item would really work on Victor. And once he gets that, he just will be strong, even stronger than in the previous fight.
Yeah, I would definitely want to put emphasis onto Quetzal, because while Rasen is going to be one of the most important damage dealers for the lineup of OG, Quetzal is nothing to be scoffed at. He is playing that Victor, and as soon as he manages to get his hands onto that couple of items, especially if he is going to be facing opponents that are lower level than him, he's just going to be able to burst them down. And you pair it up with a cannon who has now finished that stopwatch, it's going to be so difficult for the side of unknown enemy to really try to put any scrapes of defense.
Flaxer in the meantime does get the first tower for the side of UE, which,
Yay.
well, it is good for them, because he's got that Infinity Edge and you have the Ardent Sensor on Hanet, which does make it slightly easier to bridge the gap. However, the question I have is, do unknown enemy stack up well against OG in the late game, or will they falter?
Well, they still do have the superior late game. They do have this strong team fighting comp where you just pretty much have to defend Flaxer, and as long as he is alive, you're going to be able to win that team fight. The problem with that is that the lineup of OG have so much engage. Of course, they have this cannon, they have that Sejuani, they also have Zyra. There is so much chain CC that it may be very well impossible for UE to really try to do anything. But well, let's not hypothesize. We still have to give them some hope, some redemption. There may be no redemption for top lane Midnight, though. Okay.
He does shift out to safety with that unstoppable onslaught, though the ultimate is burned, so still a good play from OG. Not huge return, but they will be happy with what they get, as they just furthers ever so more their control around the top lane jungle and the Baron, which, well, it is sitting on the red for 3 minutes, and I definitely know that OG, they are looking for the first opportunity they see to take it.
And at this point, you have a Fade AD carry on your team. And while Lucian isn't known as a Baron killer, Baron slayer, he doesn't deal too much damage to these big objectives, he is still going to be able to shred through him with relative ease, because he will have this cannon, he will have this Victor, so any kill that will now appear on the side of UE is going to be possibly detrimental to the health bar of that nice little purple worm.
Right, and you know, we are 24 minutes in the game. The pace slightly slows down. The goal lead is still 7,000 in favor of OG, and now they will be attempting to start the Baron. You have got that double Mountain Drake, so it will go down pretty fast, as Hanet, he is sitting behind.
I do believe that Hannah did manage to spot that, so it's all about the rotation now.
Midnight
are
is
coming in.
Midnight is coming up from the north. Teleport is channeled by Colin as well as a counter teleport from Chaos already. Flags are dropping low at the very beginning of the fight. And there goes Chaos. Colin in the middle of everyone. Can he use the Frost Bloom? He does use it. Milo Kutsanis is told as Herman falls in the other side of the fight. Rasen is dominating. That is the second member of Yui gone. And a double kill will be fine for Kutsaya. Midnight goes gold and Flags are trying to run away. And it's a disaster for unknown enemy as they are aced to yet again at 25 minutes.
And remember what I said, Quetzia, he is going to be such a big impactful champion in these fights. He managed to solo zone out 3 damn people just from that pixel brush. They couldn't put a ward down, they didn't know that he was there, and he completely zoned them. He made sure that they could not appear anywhere near him because Flaxer, he got his half HP taken down by a quick combo. What can you do against that? It's just so difficult for Yui to do anything, and a perfectly won team fight from the side of OG. Yes, OG, not OT. OG.
A Lich Bane on Victor, that is
Yeah.
disgusting. We saw Flaxer nearly lose his life. Well, now he's going to get borderline one-shot if he doesn't have any sort of protection around
What do you mean
him.
borderline? He got one shot almost.
Well, I like to give some hope to the person
Okay,
that is
okay,
about to
fair.
get one shot. You know, maybe some heal or a trigger seed from Hanet will mean that it's not an actual one shot, but the point is that Quetzaya is going to have ridiculous amounts of single target damage, especially now with that Inferno.
Oh yeah, I'd have to agree with you there. The Inferno Drake and 2 Mountain Drakes are going to be dealing such a difference now. Bot side jungle, the teams just disengage, but to sum up how this game has been going thus far, Herben has picked up Zonias as his second item.
You mean the first one?
Yeah, actually, yes. That's not a good look. That's really not a good look. I don't think they play this in Korea.
They might not have, however, well, you have got that survivability if you're Herman. I would assume that he will itemize into the tank if he gets the opportunity to. Colin is sitting behind that wall. Look for a potential engage because if he manages to get a priority target, it could be huge. He goes into the middle of the fight, uses the front to buys a lot of time, and a massive knockup. However, is it enough? 1-for-1 so far. A double kill will be found by Rasen, and the Chaos Storm is doing what Nathan is dropping low in that front line. However, Rasen still untouched. Chaos dropping very, very low, and in the end it will be only a 2-for-2 fight.
And such a good flank over there from Colin. He trades his life together with Herben for that team fight, but that is the front line shredded from the hands of OG, and they managed to stall this game for longer. They aren't going to be able to just push the wave now. OG are going to have to reset, they're going to have to go back, and while they're still going to steal the jungle, not taking these inhibitor turrets is so important for Yui right now.
These towers stand like a fortress. Once they fall, the game becomes so much harder for you to play. And Flax and Colin, they are both sitting on 2 items. Well, they are slowly getting there. However, looking at their counterparts, you have the Essence Reaver now completed on Rasen, and Chaos is slowly inching towards that death cap. I believe he is about 600 or so gold away from that. Well, once he hits that, he will pretty much one-shot you.
Yeah, once he gets that, it's not going to be only Quetzia one shot, it's going to be also Chaos one shot. And we saw that Yui, they can win a fight. However, they need to be the ones to engage it. Flaxer, he does have the damage. I brought this up briefly. As soon as he manages to get that rapid fire cannon, he can start putting in work. He does have the front line. Sion, he is going even. He has sort of evened out the gold difference between Cannon, and at this point he is only going to get stronger in the team fight. If they manage to put their composition there perfectly, they're going to be able to just stand the storm. However, their top lane turret may be saying something else, as there are now 3 people around it.
Lucio, Rasen, and Chaos all are sitting up there. We might be looking at a potential 5 versus 5 breakout. The jungle control is crucial. Look at Nathan and Quetzaya. They will dash forward onto Hanet. No Glacial Prison utilized just quite yet. Colin burns the Glacial Path, but he will decide not to follow it. And for the time being, Yui just managed to shove the wave out and buy themselves some few vitals.
And so far, no engage able to come down on UE. That is something that you have to keep your eyes on. If UE are engaged upon, if even one person from that composition dies, it's over for them. They need everyone to stay alive. They need to get that perfect team fight. Everyone needs to play that role, maybe except Herben. If everyone plays a good role in a team fight, they're able to win it. But they need the perfect scenario, something that OG are definitely not going to give them willingly.
You're just clearing out the vision. You just saw Quetzaya shove out that mid lane to put some more pressure. That top lane turret is all but due to fall. The Baron spawning in just over a minute. And at this point, all Yui can do is just pray for more time as Flaxter, he just takes a big chunk of health with that death.
And that was one death ray. That was one ability. That was one press of a button. And well, it's the half HP gone from Flaxer's bar. So now Hanat is still being a bit of a daredevil there.
Nathan is going to get rooted, but a tanky Sejuani will just go out to the safety of their own vision. Yui, they are so desperate to just hold on to this start, but there is nothing else at this point that they can do. Midnight is sufficiently tanky to just eat all the damage and clear this wave as much as possible, but how long can they hold on? Well, I am not sure.
30 seconds. That's how long they can hold on. After that, it's Baron time. And right now, you're already seeing OG backing because the next up, Mountain Drake, the third one of the game, is going to be spawning. Time is slowly starting to tick for UE. They have been able to stall this game out because there were no other objectives for OG to pick up on. Now, there is that Drake, there is that Baron buff. And once again, at this point, it is UE's turn to find a good fight, because if they don't, it's just an objective gone from them, which can lose them the entire game.
Well, you've got Void Staff on Quetzai, you've got a Death Cap on Chaos. The amount of damage that OG are bringing to the table in this very next team fight is borderline insane. They already secured the dragon, they can pressure the Baron easy. Yes, the base is not broken, but if they get to catch out UE, I dare say there's literally nothing that UE will be able to do.
Well, you're talking about one-shots, my dear Padawan. But
I am.
can you one-shot someone who is invulnerable? You can't. Herben has that Zonia.
Yes, he does. You see, however, we see an engage, so I will stop there for a while. Flaxter gets away to relative safety. There's the Cataclysm to buy some more time, as well as the Stranglehold. The Chaos Storm is wreaking havoc in that back line. Hannah drops Colin, goes Colin, but he has to flash away. He will be just dropping low, and Lucio with the kill. Midnight in the front line, buying as much time as possible. He flashes away to safety, still ticking down from that red dwarf. That is just 2 kills like that. The gravity field, it catches out Flaxter. He gets deleted by Quetzaya. Those are the cards gone. Herbert and Midnight, the only members of Unknown Enemy alive, and I don't think that they can sell out. I think OG, they will be looking for the game.
And Flaxter pretty much just gave the game away at that point. If he hadn't rushed over to Victor's W, that could have had gone so much smoother, but now Gravity Field does its job. It pulls you towards them.
Herben going in, he has to pop the Zonias, and he will get immediately taken down by Chaos. The Nexus itself is exposed, and it is the target of OG, and a few more hits will do it, and there it is! OG, they take the game over Unknown.
And well, Herben was invulnerable, but the Nexus wasn't, ladies and gentlemen. Of course, OG managed to take a very, very clean victory from the hands of UE. It was pretty much the game that they needed to win. So while we shan't take anything away from them, none of their pluses that they managed to show us today, which was good snowball, that they can utilize Nathan to his fullest potential. It still was a very low point for UE. They're going to be at the bottom of the standings, and I am just hoping that they can show us that they are a good team in the next week, because they still need to build on their synergy.
I mean, there is still prototype, I guess, with UE. Although, well, they could be picking up the wins, and I have to agree, UE, they didn't look that strong. However, you know, we also have to give them the benefit of the doubt. That roster is, I think, as young as you can reasonably get within any sort of competitive environment. And, well, it will be a working process. We'll have to see in the future games to well, who actually was, I mean, sorry, how they improve and who will be the person to consistently step up for the team, because right now it just doesn't feel like they've got that one person.
And at this point, we're still at the bottoms of not the bottoms of the standings. We are there, but at the beginning of the split. So we're going to be starting to see these teams develop personalities and their own play styles. The problem with that is that Yui, they have just thrown everything in the drain. They have a new team, and they're going to need that few more weeks to try to adapt and find themselves. They need to find their bearings, which is going to take them a while. And I do believe that the finals are in April, so it's going to be 2 months for them to try to dig themselves out of a slump and maybe try to make it to playoffs. But it's going to be a
It
really
is
tough road ahead of them.
it is definitely a tough look, and I believe that at this point we will be going into the break before the game 2, which will be between CBN and Alpha. And well, me and Kerm are not going to be there. It will be Viper
Aw.
and Byron. So well, guys, I hope you liked our casting. We are going to a short break, and we will see you in just a few.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the SQ1 League Championship. I am, of course, Will Viper in Whittingham, and I'm going to be talking you through this one. I've already messed up, and I'm going to be alongside the lovely Byron Villafaulkner. Byron, how are you doing this evening?
I am doing very well. Looking forward to my first cast with SQ1, and boy, what a match do we have. The storyline around this match is something I'm really excited to get into, especially when you look at this tier list. A lot of people will be questioning, okay, so CBA, they're S tier, yet they're only 3 and 2. How come that's the thing?
Yeah, you've got to ask a lot of questions, and we will take you through that. Of course, we are going to be seeing CBA taking on Team Alpha in this one. CBA on the blue side, Team Alpha on the red side. Team Alpha, of course, we saw I actually cast in the first week, them playing against Royal Reapers. CBA, a very good team. They were brought in late. They didn't come through qualifiers the natural way. They came through due to some shenanigans with people dropping out at the last minute. But CBA, very, very good team, but they've actually lost their first 2 games, of course. Glorious Gaming being a very good side, obviously right up there, but they also had a forfeit match against OG, which, of course, goes against them considering OG aren't seen as one of those top 3 or 4 teams in the league. Team Alpha, of course, coming in, they're sitting about where you'd think they would be mid-table, beating some of the lower down teams and losing to some of the higher up teams, of course, losing to Royal Reapers in the first week as they are a very good side. But it's going to be really interesting to see if Team Alpha can really stamp their authority and show, look, we can mix it up amongst the best of them, or if it's going to be actually CBA going through and saying, our record might look mid-table, but we as a team are certainly not. Byron, what are you thinking about today? What's really exciting you about this match?
I think the biggest thing is that Team Alpha have kind of been shown as a bit of a stat check team. If you're good enough, you'll beat this team, but if you're not good enough, you won't. They're very mid-table, but it's a huge test of skill for any team that goes against them because it allows them to really prove themselves. And this, like we're talking about, big proving ground for CBA. They're 3 and 2 understanding, still kind of mid-table, but they want to prove their ranking on the power rankings as an S tier is proven. They really can push themselves through to this, and I want to see them really take this game home. However, they are going to have a challenge with players like Noah down in the bot lane, who is an incredibly key player for Team Alpha.
Of course, and I should also say, well, we're getting into this champ select, that CBA, due to some disciplinary reasons, have lost their first 3 bans for this one, all their games this week, meaning that they're going to have to just let the bans fall as they will, and there will not be any bans from their side, which is going to be very interesting. Normally you do, in this meta especially, there are so many bans that you want to get rid of. There are lots of powerful champions that you really want to take away. You've got stuff like the Urgot, the one of the remaining top laners who hasn't been nerfed down to hell. You've got bot lane, these crit items coming in, making a lot of champions very, very interesting. And we're going to have to see, with these picks being left open, of course, there's also stuff like you've got your pocket picks, you've got your champion specifics, where one player is maybe very good at one champion, and you have to be very careful about letting stuff like that through. And it's gonna be very interesting to see this champ select with only 3 bans in it initially, without any on the side of CBA. How are teams gonna prioritize, and how are teams gonna look to maybe abuse the fact that so many powerful picks can be left open? But of course, Vladimir and Vayne being taken away, both very good champions. Vladimir, very strong, flexible pick, and Vayne, obviously, if you let Vayne go on Vayne, then you're going to have a bad time.
Yeah, this Vayne pick important in this draft because not only does Vayne God play Vayne, as the name would suggest, but Noah's also a fantastic Vayne player. So taking that away means that they are really scared of CBA just straight up first picking that champion, and I don't feel like the Team Alpha really have that answer. So they're just going to take it away from themselves. They're happy getting rid of it. But now we start looking at the more meta picks. Like you said, Urgot right now, a lot of his opponents have been nerfed down to the ground in the top lane, and he's still standing there tall and proud. And so it's a very, very big pick. It's flexible too. You can take it to the mid lane if you really want to. And that's been the name of this meta. It's either the really strong picks or the flex picks, or usually the case, both.
Yeah, a lot of the strong picks can be played in multiple positions, but it's going to be Fresh being the last one. Banned away, obviously one of the strongest supports now, very, very versatile, always very good. And it's going to be Lissandra being first pick. We talk about flex pick, the middle top. Lissandra did see a little bit of a nerf in 9.3, but it wasn't anything major, nowhere near as much as, say, Akali or Aatrox saw. But it's interesting, even with these numbers being adjusted a little bit, the cooldown and damage being changed, Lissandra is still a priority over on the side of CBA, and we're going to see Urgot, as we were talking about. Thank you very much for making my talk at the beginning legitimized. That's going to be locked in immediately over on the side of Team Alpha.
Yeah, I quite like the Lissandra pick here because James is also quite a big Lissandra fan. He was a very big fan of, Galio, Lissandra, when all those were staple pairs. And Lissandra still is kind of meta, but taking that away from James is very important. And securing an Urgot pick and a Morgana pick, those are two fantastic picks, especially against Lissandra, because Lissandra trying to get on Urgot, it's not going to happen. He's so tanky that it's going to be too much of an investment to try and kill him. And then Morgana is also going to mean that if you are able to time that Black Shield well, you can get away from a root, from a Sejuani or from Lissandra, or just send someone like a Lucian, for example, which I feel is still left up and is a very big pick for Noah if he wants to take it. Send someone flying into a fight with Morgana Shield, and there's nothing really that CBA are going to be able to do about it. But a Sejuani coming in response means that they can pressure a lot of lanes, and with the Zyra too, that bot lane is pretty much assured to be pushed in.
Yeah, this Zyra pick and the Sejuani you mentioned as well. Very tanky, very good at engaging, very hard to deal with. And the Zyra, I love the fact that I've done my research, because Zyra also one of those champions that saw a little bit of a number nerf down in 9.3. Her plant damage is a little bit lower, making her a little bit less oppressive in lane, or at least a little bit less oppressive if you're not that great at Zyra. We're going to have to see if Zerg can be the one to prove that Zyra is still a very, very strong pick, and it's going to be Caitlyn picked up over on the side of Tap, very long range marksman, meaning that they can maybe look to pressure that marksman picks as we get into the second round of bans. And it's going to be Lucian, a very, very strong marksman, one of the better ones in the current meta, being taken away from CBA and from Vanegod.
I'd like to take a moment to just... I love this Caitlyn pick so much, because one, look at all the engage that CBA have, and look at Caitlyn's range. It's going to be so hard for them to really get onto James, especially with the peel with a Morgana, and I'm sure there's going to be something else thrown in there too. So getting on James already going to be difficult, and with the range makes it great. But also into a Zyra, if she ever pops some plants, you can just outrange them and kill them, and she can't really land that poke on you that you'd usually expect. Alongside that, also, Caitlyn Morgana, one of the best bot lanes still in the game, because you can combo the Morgana route with the Caitlyn trap, comboing someone down to a hell of a low health bar, and I love that Caitlyn pick so much. It's amazing.
It does look like an interesting one. Just to round up the rest of the bans, we've seen Riven also banned away from Team Alpha. They don't want to have to deal with that pick in the top lane, assuming that it isn't the Lissandra going up there. And we're going to see the Zac, which was hovered earlier. They're banning that away from Panise Pineapple. He's quite a fan of Zac, it could be said. And Cassiopeia as well. Very, very strong pick on 9.2, especially broken at 9.2 permaband. 9.3, she saw some nerfs, she saw some damage reduction, but actually CBA still don't want to see her on the Rift. It's going to be Xin Zhao locked in on Team Alpha, and it's going to be Jinx, a resurgent Jinx with those changes to the crit items, is going to be going down into the bot lane to face that Vayne. It's going to be the Piltover crossover as Aurelia, another nerf champion. It's going to be picked up to round out the CBA comp.
Ah, man, the Jinx versus Caitlyn Hypercarry is very real here, but the difference between the two is that Caitlyn has a Morgana next to her who's going to be able to shield very well, whereas Jinx has the Zyra, and that means that Vanegod is going to have to play exceptionally well with positioning to make sure he doesn't get caught out with a Morgana binding, or a Xin Zhao engage, or an Urgot engage, or an Orianna Shockwave that has just been thrown in there too. And so my worry is to Vanegod right now, you don't have an incredible amount of peel. Sure, you have Sejuani and Lissandra that have CC, but it isn't necessarily straight peel onto you. And it's down to CBA whether they want to play these fights diving onto someone like Noah, who's going to be sat in the backline free hitting, or whether they want to spend the time peeling for Vanegod. And that's really going to be the question for CBA coming into these mid to late game fights when they happen.
Absolutely, and we are about to get into this one, ladies and gentlemen. Of course, we're going to have the 3-minute delay, so we're going to have a little bit of time to discuss these comps very, very in depth. But I'm just going to give you a quick rundown of the two teams while we're here, and while I've got you all listening. So on the blue side, we do have actually CBA looking to cement themselves as one of those S-tier teams. You've got Squirvy in the top lane playing Aurelia, Kingan on Sejuani in the jungle, Bedra mid-spiller, these names are going to be butchered, on Lissandra in the mid lane. Vanegod is not playing Vayne because it got banned away. He will be playing Jinx as marksman, and Zerg is on Zyra at support. And moving on to the red side, we have Team Alpha looking to show that they are not a stat check team, but they are a great team. We've got Packer in the top lane on the Urgot. Panise Pineapple will be taking Xin Zhao into the jungle. The Orianna pick is going to be with James in the mid lane. Caitlyn will be played by Noah at marksman, and Fancy Lol will be coming up on the Morgana at support.
All right, so one big area that I want to look at right now. Fun fact, Team Alpha and actually CBA have the second and third highest damage participation from their AD carries. The focus they have around their bot lanes is huge, and this is going to be exemplified because if you look at all these compositions that they have right now, they are very big mid-game comps. You have Lissandra, Zyra, Sejuani, etc. for the side of CBA, and the other side, Xin Zhao, Orianna. That's mid-game in a nutshell. the dragon pressure is going to be huge, and the early to mid game is going to come down to who can get the wards around that bot side river, who can get the push down the bot side, and then who can translate that to start making roams happen and making those plays that are going to get them the leads that they need.
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting. Of course, these two mid-game teams, when you have teams that are looking to spike at around the same time, you know it's going to be like a fueled, high-impact game. And of course, we throw that to a bit of the sleepers. I heard that the last game on Square One that we watched was a little bit sleeper. Hopefully, this one's just going to be all action. When I'm casting, I say the more I get to talk, the better. Because when the player plays talking, it's action, it's madness. When the color caster's talking, as great as you are, Byron Miller, I'm sure I know you're great. You're a great caster, but I do love the sound of my own voice. So I don't. But I do like it when it's action heavy. What I want to talk about very quickly is crit items and the marksman. I know that it's been talked about to death everywhere, Reddit and all of that, but it's very, very nice to see crit marksman back. I do like seeing games that aren't just Lucian versus Ezreal, which is all that the meta has been on LCS and LEC. Jinx is a champion that I've got quite a big love for. I played her a lot. Do you have any idea how these crit items are going to affect this game? Obviously, both of these champions are crit users.
Well, so the crit items got changed. The big one I want to look at is, well, Zeal was reduced by 100 gold. A lot of the crit items got cheaper, but also IE has had a complete revert to its original state, which means that now, instead of it being a case of a big free item spike where you grab that IE, you double the crit chance, instead, now it's back to that starting item. You get that instant boost of crit, you get all the base stats that you want as an AD carry, really, and then you can throw some crit on top of that and get yourself to 100% crit. So you're looking at around 2 free items, you're going to get that crit around about the same time, but this time you're starting with the IE, you're starting with that extra bit of oomph in the lane, and that's really what's going to matter, because if let's say a Caitlyn gets a hold of that IE before the Jinx, her poke is insane in that lane. You do not want to be dealing with it. And that's really how these crit changes are going to affect the game. Who can hit those earlier power spikes? Because now, instead of it being you're waiting until about mid-game, waiting to really stack up your CS before you really get to that AD carry potential, you're getting there a little bit earlier now. And that's a lot nicer for these AD carries in the crit kind of area.
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting. Caitlyn is lane bully personified. And when you've got Morgana next to you, she's got that long-range stun or snare. She's got that poke and she's got a spell shield, which is really going to... It just makes the whole situation really, really unpleasant. But it's going to have to see is the Zyra going to be able to come in and poke and damage and set up kills. And of course, as you mentioned earlier, both of these teams love playing around the bot side. If you get the Sejuani and the Zinzao involved, it's just going to be one great time for everyone as we're about to move on to the Rift, I hope. As long as Spectator doesn't bug. I've seen so many Spectator bugs in my lifetime. It's painful, but we are not going to bug, ladies and gentlemen. We are going straight on to the Rift for this one between SCBA versus TAP. I don't know where the S came from. As we
SQ1.
SQ1, that's what it is. I just love SQ1 so much. As we come into this one. On the blue side, actually CBA. On the red side, Team Alpha. And it looks like Team Alpha might be looking to set something up in the bot lane.
Well, I would comment on it. I haven't loaded in yet. Another thing I want to talk about very quickly is the top lane matchup. They picked Irelia into the Urgot, and I'm not incredibly sure that's a fantastic matchup. Urgot's very good at punishing you when you're heading for the CS, has the range advantage, and his all-in potential is pretty disgusting.
There. Zerg been caught out. He's taking a lot of damage. The Zinzao's already gone to it, and it's going to be First Blood going over to Noah on the Caitlyn as Vanguard moves away, trying to put a bit of poke down. Penny's Pineapple is very low, but he's going to be able to back away. We said that these teams like to play around bot. All 5 members of Team Alpha go bot, and they managed to pick up a First Blood kill. Caitlyn is going to be very scary with that 400 gold at the 55-second mark.
Yeah, well, I have to say, we're talking about this Caitlyn getting ahead and starting to get those first items a lot quicker. A First Blood, yeah, that's going to help with it a little bit, gotta be honest.
She's going to turn up to lane with 3 pots rather than the standard 1, and she's also going to have a dagger in her inventory as well, so she's going to be shooting a little bit faster, even with Jinx passive going off, and it was the Zyra, of course, going down, but the death doesn't really matter. It's more about who or what gets the kill, because dying, well, I like to say this, people say this to me in my rank, I like to say this to people in my rank games, me dying doesn't matter, me being dead doesn't matter. No bounty, it's fine. It's just a case of who gets the kill and where it goes over. And of course, Caitlyn is probably not the person you wanted to give it to. But over on the side of Team Alpha, there's not that many people you'd want to give that kill to early.
Yeah, and that's going to give them the priority they need very likely in this lane to start pressuring and getting that bot lane push. And like I was talking about, that bot lane push is insanely important for the way this game is going to shape out because the dragon is incredibly important. In fact, I'm going to quickly check what dragon it is. It's an infernal first,
Oh,
so
no.
now the focus around this bot side is going to be incredibly big. Chinese Pineapple has already gone.
Packer's going very low. The flash is going to be used by Squivy. Packer's going to have to use his flash immediately to go away as both corrupting pots go off at exactly the same time to get them a little bit, sustain a little bit of damage. Sorry for cutting you off.
You don't get to breathe. There's a gank mid now, I think.
I'm looking. The pings are coming down onto the gank mid, but it looks like he's actually just going to go for those Raptors. SQ1 is about those, so there might be something going on. Bot lane also looking for a bit of a fight. Zerg does manage to land a bit of damage down, but his plants won't react. And the plants don't do as much damage as they used to. Therefore, there's going to be anything going on as the slow will land. I'm looking into the jungle though. There might be a fight. The big Raptor is sliced away, and Pinus Babel is going to go in. Bedra mid Spiller onto the Sandra is going to go away on a sliver of health, less than 100 health. The police Babel is also going to go very, very low. We're going to see James looking to continue to fight. He's on full health, but the camera is going to go away to the bot lane where an auto attack lands. No one dying there, but nice to see some really nice early skirmishes from both of these sides.
Yeah, and you see right there, he gets the bot lane priority, heads into the jungle, fights them off, and Sejuani just has to go over to the other side of the map. She knows she can't contest over on that kind of area, and this is exactly what you want to see. They've took complete control over the bot side. There's nothing that Sejuani can do about it. They got themselves a scuttle grab, and now Zinjara's going for his clear on his bot side too. He's just hovering around. That means that any single time that Team Alpha want to make a play bot for these last 3 minutes, pretty much, he's been around and he's been ready for that. And that's what's so scary about this Zinjara, because he's a huge pressure pick in the early game, and they're using that to his fullest. And now it's just a case of waiting for the dragon to go up and seeing how that kind of fight will unfold, because there will certainly be a skirmish around that area.
Yeah, you're going to have to see, especially with Infernal Dragon, that damage is so nice going forward, and giving that to either of these comps is going to be insane. You can see Sejuani as well moving around, maybe looking towards topside after she's done the counter jungling, moving as the vertical jungler, as we've seen so much in the meta recently, going into the vertical jungle, causing pressure around the side. But for Sejuani, that means she's not going to have pressure around Baron. And the bot lane that you love playing around so much as CBA, Vanguard is not going to have too much help. As Kingen looks like he's going to come in and try and catch Packer with his pants down. Packer's going to be taken quite low. He's got no flash, but he blew it earlier. Squirvy's going to use that crowding fight. He's going to get taken down. Packer's going to go down. Squirvy gets the kill. It's one apiece at the 4-minute mark.
And there we go. I was talking about it being a winning matchup for the Urgot, but a winning matchup doesn't save you from a gank, and that was a really well played gank from Kingdom coming out side of the vision, and there wasn't really much Packer could do about that other than probably backing off a little bit earlier. He tries to go aggressive on the Irelia, which is kind of what you want to do in the matchup, but gets caught out, gets killed, and now Irelia sitting a very nice 300 gold lead already.
It's looking nice, and I was saying, Kingen didn't have the pressure on bot, but it doesn't matter if you got pressure top, grabs the Irelia a nice kill, and of course if Irelia gets enough herself going enough, she could just roll over this game. It doesn't matter about the Jinx. You just get the Irelia 5v1ing the enemy team. Who cares if the Caitlyn's got a kill and a dagger? It really doesn't matter, because I'm just going to use all of the swords I've got flying behind me to kill her. And
a big point to make about Team Alpha's composition is they have an Urgot who is known for being insanely tanky and also doing a hell of a lot of damage. But other than that, they don't really have much tankiness. I mean, Pioneer's Pineapple can go semi-tanks to Bruiser, but you're not going to be seeing him go full tank. And that's going to be a worry, because if Irelia does end up getting quite fed, if she starts getting her resets off of the fight and starts dipping and diving everywhere, she's going to delete people.
Yeah, she's going to be able to go in, and with no tank, as you say, obviously in high-level competitive play, you're seeing these tankier supports being picked up, the Tom Kenches, the Worms being used to try and create that front line, and the Irelia won't be able to cut through that. But with a Zyra and a Morgana at the support role, it's going to be a little bit different. Kingen is going to use his flash to try and lock down Packet. He's going to get a 4th proc, and he is going to land the stun. The stun is going to be layered on with another stun. The blade's going to be used. Packet's going to go down. Bobby's going to get a 2nd kill. Really nice use of chaining CC to make sure that Urgot had nowhere to go.
Yeah, that was incredibly well played by Kingen and Squirvy. Just making sure the CCs are laid perfectly so that Packer can't get out of that scenario. Gets bursted down, gets killed. And now, I was talking about how this bot lane is going to be the big area. And now looking top, Packer needs to stop getting a little bit caught out here in this lane. He needs to get the proper ward set up, and he needs to make sure he doesn't get ganked anymore, because he's going to start to bleed gold soon, and he knows that his bot lane's ahead. He knows his bot lane's going to be the one starting to exert that pressure. He needs to let them do that and facilitate their carry, and not let the Irelia become a huge force so that she can just roll onto the Caitlyn.
Irelia taking some tower shots, and she's got no mana to try and fight. She's using that corrupting potion, but I can see Packer maybe wanting to chase this. He's going to move forward, try to catch her out, and there's no jungle spot this time. The stun is going to land though. Paka's going to use his Q to slow, but it's not going to be enough. He decides to back away and just get that farm. Of course, he wasn't 16, but he couldn't get that execute. He couldn't get that fear beyond death. But yeah, Paka 0-2-1 now. Got that assist early on the first blood, but he's been extended. He's been ganked a couple of times. Very nice ganks from the SQ1. The Everfrost obviously going to be really, really rough, especially when you've got the Aurelia being melee, so she can also stack up those procs to try and get the stun and the damage coming from Super SQ1. Early game, she actually does a reasonable amount of damage. It does fall off as she's a tank. But you've just got to look at this top lane now and think this Aurelia is going to be a massive, massive problem for a team of 5 quite squishy guys.
Yeah, and the big thing here is that because this top lane's kind of been weakened, Zinja has now sat there clearing top lane, kind of being a little bit of a buffer zone for Paka when he's around. The problem is now Sejuani knows that she can just go bot, and there's already pressure being made from the top lane because Aurelia is already so ahead. And now you look at the vision around the dragon, you're starting to see, okay, that's 2 control wards around it, a very nice ward in the blue jungle, I believe by the Sandra who walked down. And now all of a sudden this bot lane priority that I was talking so much about has swinged over to the side of CBA, because sure, whilst they're being a little bit pushed in on the actual bottom lane, that dragon is going to be so hard to contest because of the vision around it. And it's this kind of vision dance that you're going to see over the next few minutes that will dictate who's going to get the Inferno and who's going to start a real snowball happening, as we see
Kingan's going to want to start a fight. We're going to see the root coming down onto Noah. Noah's going to flash, but she's going to be hit by the Glacial Prison, and it means Noah's going to go down. That's going to be Kingan picking up that one as they look to chase under the tower. Kingan is going to be tanking. The Vayne is going to use that super mega death rocket to grab the second kill as Fancy lol. Can't do anything about that. 2 kills going down over onto the side of actually CBA. We see Jinx picking up one, Kingan picking up one, and they might look to get the dragon, or they might look to get pushed onto this tower.
Yeah, so I think that they're going to look to get a few platings to themselves. I say that's a wise decision. The dragon's going to stay there for a while, and then these platings, they're worth 160 gold per pop, and you're going to be able to get around like 1 or 2. But they are going to peel off and looking towards the... Is that the Inferno they're looking for? I think they are.
I think they are looking towards it, yeah. Or maybe they're looking towards the Xin Zhao's blue buff. The Xin Zhao is there. We got Fancy Long Noah coming in as well. It's going to be smited away. It's going to be Penny's Pineapple grabbing that one on the Xin Zhao. He's going to use ult to knock Kingan away from his friends. Then got Zerg coming. You can see James is coming in on the side. But it might be Kingan going down first. The ult is going to land 2 people. Penny's Pineapple is going to slay Kingan. Zerg is going to take out with a very short range Caitlyn ult. But now the fight has turned on actually CBA. 3 kills going down. Noah picked up the 3rd one there. He's going to be able to take down Kingan, Vanguard, and Zerg all falling. And just like that, it looks like a 3rd Drake is going to be taken down by Tap. And they are showing that it doesn't matter how many times you come bot, Kingan. We're going to come back. We're going to start stealing our blue up. And then we're going to kill you and all your friends.
Yeah, it's a very questionable move moving into the jungle when we knew that that dragon was available. But I suppose he knew that Xin Zhao was around and he didn't want to risk a steal, invading him. It makes a lot of sense. The problem was they didn't have the priority mid lane to facilitate that, and so it meant that James could head over very well and get a huge playoff before the Sandra could really do much there. And it meant that they had a slight numbers advantage in that fight, and that's what really swept it, was because they were a little bit too far pushed up, and it meant that the mid lane could get there faster.
Yeah, it was a very, very well played fight from Team Alpha, of course. We saw the Orianna coming in from behind, rotating very slightly quicker than Lissandra. Hitting that 2-man ult on the bot lane of actually CBA was a death sentence for them. I know that Fresh was banned, but it was a death sentence as they tried to move away. And Tap looking very, very good. Although actually CBA do have the very, very small gold lead, but 400 gold doesn't really compare. So it looks like Tap are setting themselves up very well. Of course, all 3 of their kills looking on this Caitlyn. Looks like she might be the one who's looking to carry us. We do see both junglers around this bot side. We talked about them. The snare is going to miss, and we're going to see PS Spiral going onto Zerg, doing some damage, knocking away Kinga, but also knocking away Zerg in the process. Penny's Pineapple is now the one going low, as Vangel looks to put the hurt onto him. Penny's Pineapple is going to be taken down to about half health. Fancy Lord's going to be in trouble, and here comes Lissandra. No, he's on a killing spree though, bringing down Vanguard. Kingan jumps in to kill Noah. Fancy Lord's going to go down as well. That is 2 members of Tap being traded for 1 member of actually CBA, as pressure bot lane continues to be with actually CBA as they move to maybe get a bit more on the tower with those procs. We might see something happening in mid lane as James is there. Bedspiller is going to be taking down that. There's a lot of damage coming in from that ball from Orianna as Kingan and Zerg grab another plate for themselves. They might want to move away though because James is coming in. Kingan certainly does, using that Archie Assault to move away as Zerg also steps back. But very, very interesting times. All the actions happening around bot, and just when I was talking about gold leads, it swings 1.5k to actually CBA.
Yeah, and the big thing there was once again, it comes down to bot side division. Look at those 2 control wards that are placed by the side of CBA. It meant that Lissandra was not spotted moving down, and that big play where she went in and got a bunch of CC down, They weren't able to spot her. They didn't know she was coming. And sure, it may be a slight lack of map awareness from the side of Team Alpha, but you can't let that happen. Lissandra, one of the best drummers in the game, when she gets down there, because her CC is huge and can set up someone like Vanguard on the Jinx to output all this damage.
Yeah, with Jinx being around, you're going to want to watch out for that damage, because she's going to be able to rip through you with those bullets and those rockets. We are seeing a little bit of a lull in action as the junglers are both around top side. You get just trying to pick up that farm that's been sitting there for a little bit. Maybe looking towards Rift Tower, as that is the big main objective up right now. We're going to see Zerg going to be chunked heavily. We're going to see the ultimate from Caitlyn trying to land onto that Zyra, but the Vanguard is going to step in. The Marksman is going to step in and take the damage from the support. And I don't know about you, but in my solo queues when I'm playing Marksman, I don't take the bullet from my support. They tend to just take it themselves.
Yeah, I mean, I'm quite liking the pressure that Noah and Fantasy were able to output there, just pushing them in. But the problem is that they don't have enough vision to really push in that far, especially when you see someone like King who's hanging around the bot side very well. But here comes Piney's Pineapple.
He might be having a problem here. He went in aggressively onto Packer and used his ultimate. Packer's his half health and is going to have to be forced to flash away.
Oh,
He's not using his ultimate. Squibby jumps in and grabs the kill onto Packer on a killing spree, but he is going to go down for his troubles. He was overextended. Beneath Pineapple knew exactly what was going on, but you can just see how strong this Aurelia is, managing to turn that 2v1 into a 1v1 trade.
Yeah, and we almost forgot about this top lane matchup for a while. Aurelia is now 1.5k gold up in the top lane. You look at the gold lead, it isn't even 1k for, it's only around like 1.3k in itself for the side of CBA. So actually, Aurelia is holding even more, like pretty much the whole lead for CBA right now. I mean, they did just get first power, so that kind of changes a little bit, but that top lane has been huge, and Packer unfortunately hasn't been able to get the CS he's used to. He's looking around 50 CS down right now, and that's a bit rough.
It is a bit rough as we see Kingan landing the assault onto Oriana. She's going to cleanse that, but it doesn't matter because she's going to be locked up with the Aurelia. Is going to try and back away. She's going to use her ultimate to try and escape. But both members of CBA are quite high. Fancy Lol is there, but isn't going to be able to do anything on her own. She's in fact going to take the damage from the passive of Lissandra. And she might be jumped on now. She's used that spell shield, but it's still going to be rooted. Packer's turning up now. Panini's Pineapple's turning up now. Kingan and Bedra Mid-Spiller. That's a mouthful to say very quickly. Look to back off. They're going to come back and see maybe if there's something else for them. Maybe a bit of damage on tower. But you can cleanse as much as you want Oriana, because you can only use it once, and they're not going to be able to stop all of that CC coming through. I think there might be another fight brewing, which is why I'm just talking and rambling on as the final locals get slow. We're going to see the slow from Urgot. The Packer is not going to try to go for the big impact play right now, and I'm going to stop talking. I'm going to let you say what happened during that fight.
Well, what we saw was Kingan and Lissandra press their ult buttons, and you can only cleanse one of their ults. So through maths, we can calculate you're dead. But after a bit, Kingan's played an incredibly well played game. He's been part of 7 out of the 8 kills that CBA has made. He's been constantly proactive, ganking top, ganking bot, and it's paid off for him. He's still 300 gold up on Piney's Pineapple, who is 2-0-2 himself and has a fairly good farm lead. So both junglers having a good game, but Kingan getting those extra bits of pressure that he needs, and it means that now he's set that top lane up for success, and then could let it just have that pressure on its own. Just leave top lane B now, you've got that ahead, then go bot lane, now he's starting to pressure that, and it meant that Noah and Fantasy Low couldn't apply all the pressure that they'd ideally like to, because pushing in is hard when you don't have the vision, and when you know that Kingan's going to be a constant threat around there, and it's meant that their priority was kind of dwindled and allowed CBA to really start taking control.
Yeah, CBA are definitely in the driving seat for this one going forward, but Tapper definitely not down and out. They're still having good tries in these fights, and they're still doing quite a lot of their own stuff to try and create pressure. And they're not just going to be sitting around passively, they're going to be looking for stuff, and they're going to be looking towards this dragon. I believe it is a Cloud Drake next as we look forward. But of course, looking at this Jinx itemization, something you might not have seen for a while, the Infinity Edge Rush is no longer troll. There are going to be no more question mark pings if you rush Infinity Edge in solo queue, because that item now gives crit, and that item is a good item to buy first.
Oh, it certainly is. Both ADs building that item first is incredibly key for them. And you know, they have been doing fairly even. You look at the gold, I mean, sure Noah's around 600 up, but it isn't really shown much in the itemization right now. And so they're fairly even, but now Vanguard forced to flash. Good binding coming up from Fantasy. But it's that extra range that, oh, never mind.
Now Penny's Pineapple is going to have to drop, move the Lissandra away, but he's going to be locked up. It's going to be Opera coming in from Lissandra. He's looking towards that water flash, but he's not going to be able to get away because SQ1 is there. Looks like the Rift Scar is going to be taken down by Vanguard, and they're going to look to take the Rift Herald. They want to get something immediately off that one kill pen.
Yeah, and the big difference there, CBA grouped as 4. look at the side of Team Alpha, not grouped as 4. Very split across the map, and you can play like that. You just need to be aware of when people aren't around. And now, here comes
Squibby's
Scrubby.
looking for a stun. He's going to land it on Noah. The spell sheet was a fraction too late. Noah's going to have to flash away. But now Fancy Low going golden. Might be the tricky sacrifice. Baby, your death is coming in. That is huge from the Urgot, as we see Lissandra and Aurelia go down. It's only Fancy Low is going down. But now Packer is very low. He's going to be forced to go back to base on that death. Noah is very low. The heal coming in from Vangod for the attack. That's a double kill over to Vangod. It's just going to be James trying to get away now. James is going to go triple kill to Vangod as we're going to see if Phineas Pineapple fancies his luck. He's going to flash. He does fancy his luck. Vangod's going to be taken down. That's a shutdown for Phineas Pineapple immediately. But he's going to be stunned up. It's going to be Kingan and Zerg both running away. They're not going to run away. Phineas Pineapple's going very well. Joshua Zerg. Zerg is going to be taken down. It's only Kingan surviving that fight. 17 minutes in, 9 people dead, and the SQ1 wins the Battle Royale.
What an absolute bloodbath. We're sitting at 24 kills in 17 minutes, and 9 of them just came from that big fight in the mid lane. Unfortunately, not many teams get out of it, but that was a fantastic Oriole and Urgot. The CC chain together, but the 2 people who were locked up just couldn't move, and they got absolutely deleted. Problem is after that, they were doing that on top of the Stranglethorns, got knocked up, and then they got killed, and then a tower dive and shit. It was a huge little bit of Clown Fiesta, but the ults were all used very correctly, especially by Zerg, James, and I believe Packer. Those 3 ults were incredibly key in those fights, and I'm hoping to see more ults like them.
Oh, we're not going to see any ults in a second, as we do see a pause coming through. I'm just going to check. What this is about. Oh, need some time to breathe. Yeah, there is a connection problem over on the side of Tap Team Alpha, so we get a little bit of time to look through that fight and really digest what just happened. Absolutely insane. I do love a good Fiesta. I don't even know if this is really a Fiesta, it's just a high octane game, which I prefer to Resident Sleeper, not gonna lie to you. But yeah, the CC coming in from CBA, the Sejuani, the stun from Aurelia, the Lissandra, the Stranglethorns from Zyra. You're not allowed to move in these team fights, which if you're someone like Urgot, is probably a little bit okay, because you're going to be a bit beefier. Obviously, Urgot got that Black Cleaver, got those Merc Treads to try and avoid a little bit of the CC. But if you're someone like Kaden, if you're someone like the Morgana, and you're going to be caught up in all this CC, you're going to have a really bad time. And there's not actually too much going on the side of Tap to deal with that. You got the Orianna ult to try and bring everyone together, but then you got the Xin Zhao ult to try and get everyone away. There's a bit of anti-synergy there, and it might be a little bit problematic for Tap going forward in these fights if they're not going to be able to find an effective way to deal with all of this CC coming in from actually CBA.
Well, it starts off with Scurvy trying to get an engage on Noah and Fantasy. He does it correctly, he forces a few flashes out, causes a lot of problems, but then what happens is that James and Packer collapse really well, and they get into the fight in time, punish Scurvy for being so pushed up, and get really nice combos with their ultimate. The problem is that after that, they're stuck with Vangod still being happily alive and free hitting, and he's able to tower dive with the help of Kingan and his tankiness, and they get triple cooldown under the tower. But after that, Pioneer Panda comes back in and then gets those reply kills. They disrespect the fact that he's up and think, okay, we can just sit here under the towers for a little bit too long. And they make that big mistake. They lose 2 kills on threat, and it means that they can't get the priority to really make anything happen. So this huge fight just happened. We're talking about it, but really afterwards, nothing's come of it. That no team's really been able to get a huge advantage anywhere, other than the fact that Scurvy's now pushing down top, bot lane's kind of pushing too. And so right now, your eyes are on Team Alpha. How are they going to respond to these top and bot lane pushes? Are they going to look towards playing aggressive in the mid lane and try and make an engage happen, or are they going to look to split up and try and clear the minions on the other sides of the map?
Yeah, we're going to have to see how they respond to this. Of course, Penny's Pineapple in that team fight, making sure that enough members of actually CBA fell, so there won't be an initial push immediately on mid. We do see that the early tower game has actually gone on the last, as Caster's Curse. The second tower does go down as we speak, with that one being picked up. As we see the Noah just being taken down. Just absolutely obliterated. It's all that CC. She cannot move, and she took all the damage directly to the face. As the Rift Herald is going to be used in the mid lane by Kingan, and actually CBA looking to get down the 3rd tower of the game. That's going to be the last outer tower, falling for Tap if they can't defend this. Squirvy and Kingan might be looking for a flank, as we do see this Lissandra coming in. Squirvy's going to look for a stun. It's not going to work, but James is going to be stunned. He's going to be forced to flash and cleanse as the ready to grab the ultimate. She's going to get the first kill. It's going to be James going down there. We are going to see a second kill going down. It's going to be Zyra picking up that one. The 3rd kill is going to go down. Lissandra picking up. Actually, CBA decided to share it all out quite nicely. Packer looks for the ultimate, but doesn't land on the right target. That one's going to land on Kingan, who is nowhere near low enough to be executed. This Packer looks back way, he's down the one who's going to go low. He might be one executed as Aurelia looks forward towards him. Noah's going to be there trying to clear away, but this Rift-Held has not got 1 tower, has not got 2 towers, has got 3 towers and is looking towards the charge. It's going to land on the inhibitor as we look at CBA taking the inhibitor 90 minutes into the game, as Packer will finally bring down that Rift-Held. But that is a massive goal swing, massive tempo swing, massive play from actually CBA.
Yeah, and that inhibitor is going to give them priority across the whole map. If it's a top lane or a bot lane inhibitor, it only really gives you priority around the objective that's there. But with the mid lane inhibitor, it means that you're going to constantly have a really good push going on in this mid lane. And it means if you want to go for a dragon, if you want to go for a baron, it becomes much easier because you can very easily get the priority mid, start sweeping out vision and getting control walls down there without being punished. And that's really the dream for a team like Team sorry, not Team Alpha, Team CBA, because you look at the amount of CC on their team, Sejuani, the Sandra, I mean, even Zyra. They're an incredibly scary pick team, and you do not want to face check anywhere near this team. If you end up getting caught by a Sandra or a Sejuani out of nowhere, you're screwed. And if they can start getting their vision control around the Baron pit, it's going to be so hard for them to deal with it.
Yeah, it's gonna be so hard. You can't really go in and try and get vision against Lissandra and Sejuani and Aurelia. We saw Noah at the beginning of that fight trying to be near his mid lane tower, and he got the full front of all that CC. And even with the cleanse and the flash from James as well, he still took a front of this a lot of CC and went down. Even with cleanse, like, you're getting rid of CC, but there's just so much more. It's a buy one get 17 free over on the side of actually CBA, and it doesn't matter if you want to buy it because you're getting a Team Alpha. As we see, Squirvy and Packer might look to go each other in the bot lane. As Squirvy's going to be forced there, but Packer's going to get a stun. There's not going to be too big a fight. As yeah, we're seeing them playing around Baron now, trying to get this vision down.
Yeah, I mean, now they can just start baiting it, honestly. I would quite like them to just sweep some vision outside of it and just either start it or sit in the bush near it and force Team Alpha to force a really wacky engage. Because if they do that, they're very likely going to lose the fight. We saw what happens when they aren't able to get a really good engage happen. And now, look, exactly as I said, very happy with that.
It is starting. That is good analysis. Lissandra's going to use that ult on the Xin Zhao, who's just going to walk away. Steric's gauge is going to pop. The Baron is going down to A health. It's not being on as quickly as you might hope if you're an actually CBA fan. If the teleport is going to come in, that's going to be coming in from Squirby. But he didn't get the memo because the rest of his team are just backing off. The Baron is going to reset. Even with the Lissandra being over the left side of the wall, the pressure that Tap were putting out, Team Alpha, they're still sitting here saying, right, you still need to respect us. And actually, CBA, to their credit, aren't thinking we're massively ahead on goal. We're just gonna brute force this, and they might look towards the Cloud Drake, which has been sitting idle, sitting a little bit sadly for the past few minutes. They might look to pick this one.
Yeah, and they're actually gonna be very. I believe that Team Alpha, they're going to be very happy with this if they know they're doing it. The problem is, they don't know they're doing a Cloud Drake. If they knew this, they'd go into the Baron pit, sweep out the vision, get rid of those really annoying control walls. The problem is, they don't know they're doing it until it's done. And by the time it's done, they've rotated back and they're protecting their vision. And that's the key thing here. How much can the side of CBA protect their vision? Right? If they can make sure that they can't get vision on the Baron, they can play around that for years, and there's nothing that Team Alpha can really do about it. But if they do start getting a good engage happen, if they do spot someone like the Aurelia without a TP on the other side of the map, hint hint, nudge nudge, you can bring out Packer. Actually, Packer has the smite right now, so they are looking to play around this.
They are looking to play around this Baron buff. If you've got two smites are better than one. That's what they always say. That I think that's an old Japanese proverb, potentially. But they are looking for having dominance over this Baron because they know that they're not going to have the vision control, but if it comes to a smite fight with your Urgot's weighing in as well, we've seen it in LCS especially, people with Unsealed Spellbook or even Zoe's can really easily grab those steals, and it's going to be interesting to see with no top laner having smite, and they're both on no top laner having teleport up even, they're not going to be able to help. The Urgot's not going to be there to help, as we see the rest of actually CBA looking to try and start this. They get down to 5,000 health this time before they look to engage. He's going to be engaged on Noah once again. He is a magnet for these ultimates. He's going to have his boss splash away. He is very low. Vango is going to grab Fancy Mob, and it looks like Red Buff is going to be caught in the fray as Kinga looks to go in on Noah. Noah is very, very low, but Kinga is going to be stunned up. It's going to be Kenny's fight on the backline as Slade, Lissandra down there. Packer's going to look to fight for Squirby. He's continuing their fight. Their 1v1 bot lane has moved to a 1v1 mid lane as Packer's going to be chased away. And his final level also going to go. Squirby's going to pick that one up, ladies and gentlemen. as Vayne looks to chase it. He hasn't got mana for the W though, so there's going to be no split coming down. As we look, actually see Gates coming to the base. We just see Swerve jumping away. He's going to go, Penny's kind of going to go golden. Stun is not going to land. He burst it too late, but he's still going to manage to get the kill, but does trade it for his own life. But we also see Noah going down finally in that fight, and it's going to be Vayne. Vayne's going to be caught by the snare. Then he's going to be caught by the Orianna ultimate. Kingan is running for his life. He thought it was going well. It did go very well, but now he might be caught up creek without a paddle. He is not going to be as fancy long and James. You're not going to take him down. But that was a very, very nice fight over on the side of actually CBA. But they do not really get anything for it.
Yeah, I mean, it was a nice fight until you realize that towers do damage, and then I feel like it was probably better for them to ease off on the brakes a little bit, you know, just get the inhibitor, get the push in, and then try to engage. You need to have that buffer zone, you need to have the minions there ready to just have that initial tower aggro on you when you can start to angle yourself for the engage. They didn't set themselves up for that, and so what it meant that, sure, I already got a really cool stun, started going, dipping and diving everywhere. Problem is, no one could really get there to support him without taking a hell of a lot of damage, and it meant that I already was up the creek without a paddle, like you said, and so now it's back to a reset, and I feel like Team Alpha did a really good job at kind of bouncing CBA's moves off of them. However, I'm surprised at CBA. A lot of these times they've been doing the Baron up until about 5k health and then just disengaged off of it. I want to see them just try and make a decisive call here and finish it off. Because the scary thing is, the longer you leave this game going, the more items Noah's going to have as this Caitlyn, the more he's going to be able to scale up, and also the more tanky this Urgot gets. And Urgot now having the TP means that if he TPs into a fight, it's going to be super hard to kill him.
It's going to be very difficult to kill him, but it might not be too difficult for Squirby to use. Oh, but Packer is going to be looking to fight there, and he's looking quite healthy. But Squirby turns on the damage, he turns on the Tyvac Hydra, but now he's going to have to turn on the skills to get away. The ultimate is going to come directly on the chain, but now we're going to see Baron starting up, as we saw too many members of TAP going for to try and trade that. It's 1v1 trade there. Packer is going to have the teleport, but he is going to be dead for the next 30 seconds, and Baron is not going to last that long. But he's Pineapple and Fancy Roll, the only two ones there to try and contest, to try and slow. Lands the snare directly into the Baron. It's a free help, but now Noah and Jade's coming in. It's going to be a fight. It's going to be Pineapple dropping in. I'm watching the Baron help as we see Caitlyn go big as he manages to grab two. Squirby is what's already going to get there. Triple kill for Noah on the Caitlyn. Is that a quadra kill for Noah on the Caitlyn? It is a quadra kill for Noah on the Caitlyn. Squirby stole his penta, but it was a little while earlier, as we do see Fancy Lol go down as a sacrifice, and Noah himself giving his life always for the cause. And we're going to see massive, massive play. Baron is going to go down, but no one is going to live to tell. No, in fact, no one is going to live to tell tale, because it was taken by actually CBA, but they all died. So Baron taken, Baron lost. Massive play from Team Alpha.
Yeah, and the big problem there was that Squirvy, who has been a huge threat to Silent this whole game, went in and sure, he got a really good kill on Packer, but he didn't say no to the rest of the team, and so he got rotated on. He died, and then that pressure that they usually have on the other side of the map, which makes teams very indecisive as to whether they go over and deal with the guy who's pressuring or go over to Baron. Well, they dealt with the guy who was pressuring, and the Baron wasn't being done at that point. By the time they got over, the Baron was still being done, and that's incredibly bad. That can't be happening, and it meant that Team Alpha could get the rotation in time and get themselves a really nice ace, actually.
It was a really nice ace, but it does look like actually CBA using that teleport. Now that Baron's gone, just going to use it to get in to that Dragon Pick and pick up the Mountain Drake. So we are going to see a Mountain Drake moving over to them. Getting that damage to objective is going to be very good, especially if they wait for the next Baron to come up or just sieging down. Of course, the mid inhib is open over on the side of actually CBA, so they can look to try and grab that one, try and get those supers back and try and bring in a little bit of pressure with Squirby being down in the bot lane. But Team Alpha, they are definitely looking for a comeback, and Noah takes a face full of rockets. I'm interested to see where do you think the next fight is going to occur?
Well, it's probably going to be around this mid inhibitor kind of area if they're looking to push in. If not, it'll be definitely around one of the lanes, I can tell you that for.
Definitely going to be on the summons.
Here's one.
Looking Squirby as Squirby goes down to half health, but he is going to move away and Vayne God manages to pick up that inhibitor with help from a couple of friends.
Yeah, and they just walk down, get the mid inhibitor knowing they can't really be contested, and they're just going to walk up top, start getting that turret, and the problem is that Team Alpha want to fight in a big unit with the Orianna, the Xin Zhao all going in, and then also Caitlyn free hitting on the back, and Morgana peeling. That's what they want. They want that four-man group together. The problem is that they're not quick enough on the rotations, and so it means that CBA are constantly able to get these little advantages. Get the mid inhibitor, get the top lane tier 2. Great flash!
Move forward, but the cleanse is going to be used, and now the fight is all breaking out. Everyone's going to go extremely low. James is going to go low, but on most though. King can also be taken down. Noah's going to take on Lissandra, first one going down. But Aurelia is going to jump in to grab a trade, taking out King's Pineapple. It's 1-for-1 at the moment, but people are low. We're going to see ult coming in from Caitlyn, but there's too many boys there. Zerg is actually going to be one attacking that up. As King looks back away, but Kingan does have war modes, so just sitting around like color waiting for some help to come back. And she might look to re-engage. Fancy will obviously not having that war mode, so
Squirmy
is gonna be problematic. Squirvy's looking to fight though. He is hungry with this one as he looks to jump onto Packer, but now he might be a bit far forward. He's going to flash away. No, gonna get some free hits on loads down to the Kingan as well. Loads thing is slow onto Vayne. It's gonna get the damage down, and he's gonna take it down. The air he's gonna give the final execution over onto Vanguard as Kingan, Squirvy, and Zerg are all going to be forced to back away. In the end, it was a 2v1 trade over with the advantage going to Team Alpha.
Yeah, great fight. What I find absolutely insane about this game, it feels like it's been going on for like 40 minutes now, but we've only just hit the 30-minute mark. And there's a Nexus Tower going down now for Team Alpha. That's an unfortunate loss for the fight, but they do win it, and now Noah just played that fight impeccably. He was constantly, they're constantly auto-attacking people left, right, and center, and they couldn't get on Noah. It's what I was talking about with the range of Caitlyn in these fights. It's so hard to get on her, even with the CC of Lissandra, over Sejuani. You saw he just QSS flashes, and then what do you do then? You're just stuck up against like 4 members, as I said, Sejuani and Shaw. Whilst you're incredibly tanky, you're gonna have to get out of there as fast as you can, and it means that Tap start really playing these fights incredibly well.
Yeah, Tapper really played to their strengths, and Noah is doing so much. 10 kills over onto this Caitlyn, the Infinity Edge, the Merc Sim, and the 2 crit items coming in from Static Shift. She is melting even through the Sejuani, even through this Aurelia. The damage is big as we look. There might be another fight coming through. Fancy Lord just use that Spell Shield for a bit of insurance. Just a little bit to make sure that Lissandra doesn't get too many big ideas, but I don't think Lissandra would have really wanted to follow that one through anyway.
Yeah, and it's becoming a real tricky one for the side of CBA to really engage, because the problem is, look at all the QSSs and cleanses and etc. on the side of Team Alpha. It means that every single time you try and have a fight happen, the person's probably going to QSS and get out of there, and that's a big issue. But the problem is, now a lot of flashes down, and Pioneer's Panda forced to ult.
He was going to be forced to ult to keep Kingan off him as he is look to engage, then decided, no, do you know what, this is a terrible idea, and backs out. Squirvy is going to be up in the top lane though. He's going to grab a tower as actually CBA looks to stop the ports, looks to stop the rotation, but now Squirvy's like, okay, let's turn this into a fight. He's looking around trying to get a fight, but no, he decided he just wants to join his team, and the 5 of them will lead together as they're going to force Denise Pineapple up to deal with the top lane to try not to lose any more ground. Of course, Team Alpha yet to get an objective on the map in terms of towers or in terms of structures. They did get that Infernal Dragon very early on, but since then they haven't managed to get anything. And while they're fighting extremely well in these fights, they're still being rotated around the map very well by Team Alpha, by actually CBA. And actually CBA pulling all the macro string, where Tap might be looking slightly better in micro, but really in the macro sense, it's going to be another tower going down for actually CBA. There is only 1 tower standing left for Tap, and that is one of the Nexus ones. As a fight is breaking out, I just left it, but then the fight's going to come down. No, it's going to go extremely, they're going to be forced to move away. And now Denise Pineapple is going to go down, but he's got a GA, so it's fine. We did see the Sun fall as well. Fancy Lord's going to go golden. Denise Pineapple on the back, but it's not going to matter as Fancy Lord going very low. We're going to see James going down. James getting a rampage actually, as we know it, shutting down the Aurelia. Sorry, I just lost my brain. I looked at Kevin, I was like, who's that? We're going to see Bengal and Zerg looking for the inhibitor as they grab that one. That is all the inhibitors going down over on the side of actually CBA. They have grabbed all 3 of those. There are going to be so many super minions flooding into this space. And while they did lose 3 members and only traded 1, it does not matter. The objectives are all falling over onto the side of actually CBA.
Yeah, I believe they're just going to end up securing the Mountain Drake here too. What the big thing to look at is here, the problem is that Team Alpha, they're winning a lot of these fights, but because of the fact that they're down a lot of these inhibitors, they can't really go for these objectives pretty well. I mean, they are actually going to push to the ban right now, but they have to be careful. They have to do this fast and quick, otherwise it will get stolen away. I believe this is probably their best shot into the game though, so it's smart call by them. Could be a fight breaking out though as Vanguard.
You're going to see Vanguard turn up and is going to try and do a bit of damage, maybe do a bit of poke, but she shouldn't have enough. It's going to be secured by Peace Power. He's going to ult to try and stop any more damage going to him. And Noah might be in a bit of trouble. He's going to have to use that next game of the wall, and he's going to do so well. So they do manage to grab Baron for themselves, and I believe that they get it on all 5 members, as the respawns were fine for Packer and James on that Orianna. 5 members of TAP now have Baron buff, and they're going to have to use this to stop these minions shoving into their base.
Yeah, I mean, silver lining, your mid inhibitor ain't down anymore, so that means that they don't have to worry about those top and bot pressures as much, because you can push through the mid lane and force the other team to kind of come back and answer that big push mid, whilst you go and clear bot and top. It makes it a lot nicer for you if you're able to play that smartly. And also now, with Noah being at the level he is, it means he can essentially ward off any sort of pressure onto mid inhibitor just through his range alone and the amount of damage he does.
He's going to be very good at trying to keep TAP alive and keep actually CBA from their door. The Baron minions, of course, are going to be helping greatly. You don't want to be fighting with Baron minions if you're over on the side of actually CBA, because you're not having a great time taking all that damage. But they are going to look to push forward, and we might see a fight ending the game here. But Penny's Fire was going to be the one engaging. We're going to see the health bars going very, very low. Kingan is going to look, he's going to go big, and he's going to be tanky. But we're going to see 2 members of TAP already full Packer of Penny's Fire looking to be the tanky engaging, but it's not going to matter. Fancy Lola is going to grab a kill for himself over onto the side of TAP, but it's not going to matter. They're all melting away.
Noah's still alive.
Noah's still alive, and he's doing so much damage. He picks up 3. It's going to be huge for Noah. Actually, James stole the 3rd one, so ignore me that. They are going to be the only 2 members left alive. They're going to try and stop anything from being taken in their base. But the question is, again, as we always say, TAP gets the really nice team fight. What are they going to do with it?
Oh, well, I mean, there's not much they really can do. They have to just sit here and clear inhibitor waves. But Jesus Christ, that was a fight that I thought would for sure end the game. That Orianna ult whiffing was huge, as it meant that then Chinese Pineapple and Packer, who had engaged, was stuck out of position. The Stranglethorns came down, they got knocked up, CC died, and I thought I was going to be it. But I completely forgot Noah exists, and every time you forget Noah exists, he goes and he gets a triple kill out of nowhere, and he goes and does it again. He's now got a red buff for himself. And it's so hard to end these fights because Noah just sat so far behind this front line that if you spend all the time trying to chunk down the front line, you're gonna get chunked down yourself by Noah, and there's nothing much you can really do about that other than getting an insane flank. The problem is, if they're in their base, you can't really flank them very well, and now, you look at the kills, they're actually even, and the gold isn't even 2k apart now. It's insane.
It is really insane. You see Packer and Penny's Pineapple go in and get melted, and you think, oh, that's GG. But then you see Noah hasn't died in the fight, and you see him starting to rip through people. Of course, with the Lissandra and the Aurelia going down pretty early on, Kingan as well going down fairly quickly. They don't have these massive engagey people, and of course, if you're blowing all your CC onto Packer and onto Penny's Pineapple, who's left to try and stop Noah from ripping through you?
Yeah, and Mercurial Scimitar has been picked up. I mean, actually, Noah's just a full build right now. He's very happy with himself. The problem is, he burnt his flash and his heal both in that fight. And so he's going to really struggle in this next fight to really keep himself alive. And this is now the window that the side of CBA need to look at to punish them. Noah is a huge point in this game. You need to kill him whilst he has his flash down. I hope they're keeping track of that. Otherwise, he's going to be back with a flash up, and that fight is going to be very, very, very difficult to win.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be hard, but we also have to look over at Vanguard. Vanguard has been doing a lot of damage and has also managed to reach full build now. 277 farm to 305, and the marksman role is very, very good play coming through. But of course, Jinx is going to be able to outload a lot of damage, maybe not as safely as the Caitlyn is, but if she gets going, if she gets those resets on her passive, she's going to be running around hard to hit, and she's going to be dealing out a ton of damage. I think we might be seeing a fight. They're trying to set this up. We're going to see Lissandra coming in. We're going to see Fancy Little Hands go golden, but there's not going to be too much reaction to her there. It's going to be a teleport.
Ooh, the flash!
That's a really nice flash. That's also a really nice ult from Jinx as it goes down. Elder Drake, who looks like it might be the next target for actually CBAs. They managed to get a pick onto the Morgana.
Yeah, only 14 seconds left now until this Elder Drake spawns. It's going to be a 4v5, but bear in mind Noah is up, and so he's the man to watch in this fight. Can they get the engage off? They weren't able to last time, at least onto Fantasy though, and got the pick there. Can they do it again? The problem is they burn a decent amount of cooldowns. The Glacial Prison is the one that's off cooldown right now that I really want to see come back up.
He's going to go low. The Dragon's going to go down instantly. That's a really nice use of the Jinx bomb. We're going to see the fight coming in. James is dominating. He's going to take down Zerg on that Zyra. But now Noah's
down!
Noah's dead! It's going to be all over as we pack and trying to force his way out. James on the side looking at We're going to see Phoenix Fire Level with the Guardian Angel, but that Guardian Angel does not be carried out. Denise Pineapple as Hugo down as my voice gives way. All the members of actually CBA except Zerg survive. Now we're going to look into the base. We're going to have to see Fancy Lol and James trying to defend what little they have left. One tower and a couple of in-hits. But Fancy Lol might be the next target. He's going to be taken very low. He is going to be taken down. They've got to pick that one up. James is going to be the last man. They're going to run him down like a dog. He is taken down. That is the ace for actually CBA. And just before the 40-minute mark, actually CBA grabbed their next kill. Their next win over Team Alpha.
Well, it seems like this game, they actually CBA to end the game for a while, but, you know, they do manage to do it in the end. But Noah, standout performance from him, I have to say. He really did perform. Unfortunately, it's not enough. Packer, unfortunately, let Irede get this lead, and it was a real problem. But then again, you look at the side of CBA, they all played incredibly well. There were consistent threats across every single lane, and they managed to play their team composition out incredibly well in these fights, especially near, like, right at the end of the game. Getting those engages off, incredibly important.
Yeah, I'm just looking over these damage stats for this game, and goodness me, the Noah on Caitlyn, 39,000 damage on Caitlyn, 37,000 damage on Jinx. I think it was a difficult one because we were talking about Noah looking like he was doing so much in these fights, and we were talking so much about the CC and the engage coming in from actually CBA. But Vayne God, more like Jinx God, almost 38,000 damage, jumping around, doing so much damage, using these bombs, doing it AoE, doing it just all over the shop. And really, really nice play from him. And actually CBA, maybe they've started to quiet a couple of the critics over here now, managing to pick up a Noah, and they're now 4-2, and are really trying to push forward into that S tier, those top few teams that are really going to look to contest early playoff success.
Yeah, I mean, they've done incredibly well for themselves in this game. It was a tough one, but they got it in the end. And I have to admit, I mean, if we're doing MVP votes, I would do MVP votes. I'd probably throw it over to Kingen, to be fair. He was putting the pressure down early game that mattered. He went top lane, got Squirvy a lead, and Squirvy, for the rest of the game, used that lead incredibly well. And then, after he got that, went down bot lane, abused the fact that the Ginger had to go top to help out Packer, and then he got lead in the bot lane. And then they started playing around the mid lane, and it was fantastic to see Kingen forcing all of these engages across the map. It was great.
It was an absolutely fantastic game, really enjoyable to watch, action throughout, and that is going to close us out for this game. And this week, not this week, not this week.
No.
We have games tomorrow. There are games being cast tomorrow. I'm thinking, I'm not casting, so there can't be any games. But no, there will in fact be two more rounds of games tomorrow in the Square One League. So make sure you join us right there. I have been Will Byron Whitcomb. Byron, do you want to give us final words of wisdom before we go?
Final words of wisdom. First of all, if you guys want to tune in tomorrow, you'll be watching Royal Reapers versus Glorious Gaming, and Allow Ganma, one of the big teams right now, facing Free Krugs. So if you guys want to catch those matches, they will be on tomorrow. Also, thanks for watching.
Yeah, those are some very well words, and those are some big games. I'll definitely be tuning in. Make sure that you are as well. From all of us here at Square One, we'd like to thank you so much for watching, and we will catch you tomorrow for more League of Legends action. Thanks very much.